Hello everyone and welcome back to Beyond the Apex. We're back on Formula E mode today, round 4 in Brazil.
What a race, what a race, and what a genuinely, I think, one of the greatest finishes to a race I think I've ever witnessed in any kind of motorsport.
Yeah, I think I completely agree there. I mean, it was just peak Formula E racing.
It really was.
It was so good to see, back to that kind of, I don't know, the fight for,
just the fight for everything.
It's just, yeah. Absolutely, and it was just such a good race. So what we're going to do is, I've done the format a little bit better than what we've done for the past 3 races for Formula E. So we're going to go through every single team and kind of like we do with Formula 1, go through how their weekend went in Brazil. Yeah.
So, on to Vision firstly, my God, it was a weekend to forget.
Yeah, I mean, they just weren't anywhere really. Were they qualifying? They were out in the groups, I think. They just weren't seen anywhere. They were off the place completely. Remy included as well, because half the time, arguably, I think he is the top driver of the team.
100%.
They were just nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, and it's rare to see kind of Remy off the pace. He's always somewhat kind of thereabouts, being the brilliant driver he is.
Yeah.
And to have a race where they clearly just didn't get the setup, it's just... It was weird to see.
It was weird to see, and I think it might be to do with the track as well. It isn't the best track for a Jaguar powertrain in that respect, but I mean, we'll talk about Jaguar in a minute. It wasn't a weekend for them to remember, to be honest. But moving on to Jaguar, as I said, the manufacturing team, they dominated here last year,
Absolutely.
right? They were on top of it, and that was when they had Sandberg in the car as well. But now they've got Cassidy as well as Evans. So you'd like to think the powertrain being I'll go back on what I said earlier. The Jaguar powertrain was supposed to be really like on hot stuff in Brazil, but yeah, we had a really big kind of. What's the word? We had big aspirations going into Brazil.
Yeah, big expectations.
Expectations, but qualifying Cassidy.
Yes, he went out in it,
which is not a good thing. And then Mitch got through to the duels and was fighting with the DSs. And we'll go on to talk about the DSs later on. But really, kind of not what Jaguar wanted in terms of the team championship. But yeah, we'll talk about the race. Cassidy. DNF on lap 16.
Yeah.
So he went into the wall. Turn 10.
It was around that kind of area, I think.
Yeah. So basically, the front end plate went underneath the wheel, and then that was just over for him. I mean, it was such a good thing that he wasn't injured.
Jesus Christ, yeah. Because when the front wing goes under, there's always the risk of the car going up. And it was. Even though I went into the wall, that's probably the best case scenario.
Exactly, and it could have been a lot worse. So thank God he's okay and all this stuff. But we'll talk about Mitch.
Oh my God, the racing! It was spectacular to see. It's as you said, it was just peak Formula E.
It was, and going back to Cassidy for a minute though. Obviously he DNF'd, but I think they said in the debrief that he actually did jinx it on the track. He said to. He said on the interview, he said, "Oh my God, if I DNF'd in this, I'd still be leading the points or something for the championship." Obviously, he DNF'd.
All right, yeah.
So I think
the ego is up there.
He jinxed it a little bit, but obviously not his fault. But yeah, talking about Mitch, amazing racing with Sam.
Oh yeah.
They didn't have a lot of top speed towards the end. I was listening to the debrief. It was really hot in Brazil, so the batteries he had it was de-rigging on the thing, so it means they can't get the top speed out of the batteries. So obviously Mitch was heavily to a disadvantage to a certain extent. So that meant that Sam could do that amazing overtake around the side. But just thinking, if it wasn't that hot, Mitch could have probably dominated. And Sam wouldn't have had that kind of advantage over the Jaguar, but.
Because I don't feel like when you go kind of 2 second ahead, especially in a spec series like Formula E, you just kind of get that edge, and we're not having that top speed. It just was always going to hinder him. So the fact that he managed to get P2 in the end is a great result.
I mean, I think he said on the last few laps he was under-consuming anyway. So the fact that he was kind of battling for first position and under-consuming is something else. So but great to see. Move on to Andretti. Obviously a big talking point. Jake Dennis's team, the world champion.
What is going on with him? I mean, we saw him come out the block so quickly last season, and yet this season it's just seeming like it's such a slow, gradual start. It's so unlike him.
It is. I mean, he got through to the duels, and he was P5 in the race. But didn't
make it through to the duels.
Didn't make it through the duels, but he was P5 in the race.
I mean, it came down to the line in the race. I mean, he was P3 going into the final corner, and then Roland just got him down the inside.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's a shame. But like I think last year he did drop off a little bit as well, and obviously he kind of towards the end really did was constantly on the podium. So who knows? We might see a switch around for that, but I don't know. We'll talk about the DS now. I did mention that before. Oh my god, what were they on? They were on something else.
They were on steroids. Like, genuinely. we always kind of see maybe one DS up there or not, but they were just on the pace. It was unreal.
Both Fern and Van Dorn were top of the group stages. In Group A, they got through to the duels, and then they went head-to-head actually in the semi-finals, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, they were still really dominant. You know, there was an argument like of team tactics between the two, because obviously they were in the duels together, but I don't think they were. They were just racing, and then Van Dorn got through to the final. So, but it just really did show that they were on top of it.
And also, what a final that was, by the way. Wasn't it split by about 2 milliseconds or something? It was, being a Verline man myself, I was very happy, but it was close.
It was very close, but definitely. We'll move on to Apt Cupra. God, I just call them Apt. Not really much to say here, really, is there?
No.
Nico Muller was through to the duels though. That was kind of out of nowhere.
Absolutely,
hello, you're new. He took out Nick Cassidy by 0.147.
Wow. Yeah. But I mean, when it was clear, I feel like if you're knocking Nick out the groups, Nick's off the pace. It's not you that's doing well, it's Nick that's struggling.
Valid.
But no, I mean, took advantage of the situation.
Exactly.
Fair play to him.
Exactly.
And did he finish in the points as well?
No. Then moving on to ERT, again, similar to Envision, just dropped out of the group stages, wasn't their weekend, no pace
When
at all.
is it? When is it the weekend?
And I was quite concerned as well, because obviously Formula E is all about battery and kind of, you know, they always end on like 0% or 0.1%, right? But like going across the line, Mitch, Sam and all that lot were on like 0.1%, and then coming around like the fifth to the final corner or something, Dan Tipton was on 0.1%, and I'm thinking, oh my god, like he's probably just binned it for 3 laps, and they're telling him like no, regen, and he's like no. So
I feel like having Dan Tipton in the car is just a recipe for chaos.
Yeah.
Because if he ever goes through a race without saying one swear word, do you know what? Put your money on the lottery, because it's going to come out.
Yeah.
Because
exactly. It's but. Likewise, not the best weekend for them. On the up note, Maserati.
Jesus. I mean, Max getting through to the duels was just... I feel like Gunther just has these rounds where he just does so well. I think of Mexico, where he just pulled P4 out of nowhere. And he just has these weekends, and the other weekend, he's just off the pace.
Yep, absolutely. I think it's just one way or the other with him. But he did completely dominate in that.
And then annoyingly
had
the 20 place stripping away.
Yeah, so obviously they changed the gearbox and the inverter, and they'd actually used too many. So obviously regulations state that obviously you're going to get penalised for that. It was actually ahead of free practice too. So
it was weird him going into quali, knowing that it'd start from the back, but just going for it anyway.
That's probably the mentality, though. You know.
Absolutely, and it should be the mentality.
So I'm going into that thinking, do you know what? I can't do any worse. So I might as well just pull it out the bag and smash it on pole.
Absolutely, and
he did.
I mean, you see the likes of like top F1 drivers like Max. I remember Sochi 2021. He was taking a new gearbox. He was going to start from the back. Didn't even go out. But I mean, that mentality just go. Do you know what? Screw it. I mean, it's great for Max, and he reaped the rewards.
Yeah,
definitely. Rewards of nothing, but pride at least.
Pride. Yeah, exactly. Okay, we'll move on to Mahindra. Obviously, I will say, like, it's really quite good to see them doing quite well in this season anyway, because with pre-season testing, obviously they were very disadvantaged to say the least. They couldn't continue with the testing, so it's the fact to see them kind of doing quite well is quite heartwarming. We'll talk about Nick first. I mean, it's quite great because he didn't make it. Well, no, he didn't make it.
No,
it's not quite great.
It wasn't quite great, but I mean, I feel like Nick is just kind of trying to get back into F1 at the moment. He's just, and especially in a team like Mahindra, who has had these disadvantages in pre-season testing for sure, it was always going to be difficult, but he's trying to get the best. Did he go over Edo again? Did he? No, he didn't. No.
And talking about Mortara, obviously he did make it through to the duels.
Yeah, which is always
just
positive.
above Bird, which is quite something considering how Bird ended up.
Oh my god, yeah.
You know, we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, it was an okay weekend for them. They weren't terrible because obviously, but then again, like you're saying, they weren't terrible, but they probably were because Envision and
exactly
ERT and then and then Apt Cooper as well were also just not there.
Exactly.
So they probably benefited from that.
Yeah, so it's always looking at kind of like, yeah, but who's actually below us?
Yeah,
And it's like, should they be below us? So
we talk about it all the time in Formula 1 as well, you know, like we're talking about, oh yeah, McLaren doing so well, and it's like,
but then it's just Merc doing really,
just like nowhere. So, obviously, we'll go on to Neon McLaren.
Oh my god, Sam Bird, you utter legend.
Yeah.
I mean, that overtake I think I've seen about 50 times on my timeline, and I'm not complaining because it was just to have the balls to go around the outside on one of the final corners of the final lap.
Yeah.
I mean, firstly, second would have been an unreal result for McLaren. But to have the confidence and just go, do you know what, screw it, I'm going to go for it, is just, that's why we love Sam Bird.
Bird is back.
Yeah, Bird is back.
I think it's really great to see as well, because I think as well, with the crash he had in Rome,
it definitely
really
cut his
did
confidence.
kind of cut his confidence in that respect, and obviously then getting dropped from Jaguar and then moving to McLaren. I really think that this kind of, he needed this win.
He did need this win, and I mean, you saw it with his good result, and I think it was Saudi in Diriyah, where he had a good result, and Zach Brown came over the radio and he was like, we believed in you, it's absolutely right, and I think that definitely sparked his confidence. And then just to get the win here, obviously McLaren's first win in Formula E after taking over Merc.
Yes.
His confidence is going to be an all-time high, and I genuinely think the momentum that he's going to get from this is going to be very strong. And I mean, I've seen people saying that he's going to fight for the championship.
Yeah.
I doubt that, but I genuinely do believe he can start getting some consistent good results.
No, I agree. And obviously we won't take the limelight away from Jake, but you know,
it
wasn't the best for him. Obviously, he had to retire because, like I said, it was so hot. It was actually affecting the batteries in ways that probably we can't explain because it's very technical.
Very, very technical.
But yeah, it was a shame. But like I said, I suppose, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be. I feel like, especially within teammates, you are always going to have that kind of rivalry when if your teammate gets a win, there's always going to be a kind of sour moment. But Jake genuinely did look happy for Bird. And I mean, Jake is very kind of embedded himself in McLaren.
Yeah.
They've taken him out, they believed in him from Formula 2,
Yeah.
they brought him over, and he has delivered great results for them. And I think he is genuinely happy to see the team doing well.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, and I think as well, like he, you know, in comparison, like you're talking about with the teammate situation, he was the same with Rene Rast. He was such, you know, that was in his rookie year, and he was such like an experienced driver, and it's like, you know, he's being constantly beaten by him, but I don't think he doesn't show it.
He doesn't show it, and I think he is genuinely one of those drivers that actually focus on self-improvement. He's always just looking at his kind of I can't think of the word.
His
data, his data, and just trying to prove himself because that's all that he can do. I mean, they're always, I feel like, especially McLaren, they're always going to try and have an experienced driver next to him.
Yes.
And I genuinely do think he's learning from Bird as well because Bird has so much experience, obviously being a race winner and bringing race wins back to McLaren.
I was going to say, you know, Sam Bird has been there from the beginning.
Oh my god,
so,
yeah.
You know, the amount of experience he's got racing electric cars
must be vital.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, we'll stop talking about McLaren. Move on to Nissan. Oliver Rowland on the podium.
Oh my god! Final straight overtakes Dennis.
Honestly, he just comes out of nowhere.
Has he been off the podium this year?
I think so. Yeah.
Has he? Yeah. Well, it's 2 in a row at least. Yeah. But
absolutely insane. I mean, there's nothing else to say about the team.
No.
They should have got one sentence. Yeah. Rowland on the podium. Oh my god, that was what a drive.
Yeah. What a drive, and especially in the Nissan, obviously his teammates absolutely nowhere, and it's just. He's showing the class. I think, they're at the points. Finish straight.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, he's just consistently getting these points for Nissan.
Yeah, I know. It's really good to see. It's really good to see. All right, finally, we'll talk about Porsche and Wehrlein, obviously.
Let's talk about the Jules final again because 2 thousandths of a second. Van Dorn and Wehrlein were split by. It was. I mean, at first, obviously, I'm supporting Wehrlein in the title fight. You're supporting Cassidy or any Jag driver. Jag. But it was. At first, I thought Wehrlein had been pipped at the end by Van Dorn, and it took me a second to realise that Wehrlein had actually got it. And then I started celebrating. But it was a fantastic qualifying.
Yeah, it was absolutely insane. You know, they show the difference, like whether you're catching or not, like in that, and it was they were literally just like that. And then it said 0.002 or whatever, and I'm like, oh my lord, like that's the same. That's impossible to get half the time.
And I mean, it wasn't even like someone made a mistake on the final corner. No. They were like 500ths away from each other throughout the entire. It was one of the closest duels I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And in the race they did have strong pace as well.
Yeah, it was It was a really good draw. And I know the qualifying format I do like for Formula E. It is great.
I love it.
You know, but like this was top tier qualifying.
Top tier. And I mean, that is one of the reasons why people watch Formula E. I think it's the excitement of qualifying. Everyone loves qualifying, but Formula E just have that other spark.
They do.
But it's just, I love it. I love it. Yeah.
And they put the two drivers together like face to face.
Yeah.
It's like doom, 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 and it's like Christ. It's like a duel.
Also, I think because obviously you have the predictions before where people can vote. I think I remember it was 50-50
Was it?
going into it, and I think I was genuinely 50-50, and it was one of the closest duels we've ever seen in FE. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I mean, well, they go. That says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, says it all.
Says it all. But yeah, I mean, Porsches were actually strong in the race. Obviously not on the podium. Verline P4 though.
Just off it, what? Like 900ths of a second.
And fastest lap, right?
And fastest lap, yeah.
No,
pole. Yeah. Who got fastest lap?
Who got fastest lap?
Someone who did.
Someone.
I guess. Yeah, someone.
Anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that sums up Brazil. To be honest, a very hot race.
Yeah.
But now we're gonna switch. Well, they're going to go from one side of the world to the other.
Yeah.
And we're in Tokyo for round 5. So
first race in Tokyo. It's going to be brilliant.
Yeah, I'm really excited. The track looks really good. I mean, it's quite nice to kind of bring Formula E over to that kind of market in a way because, like you said,
I think it suits it very well with kind of the Tokyo theme, everything being very high tech and having the Formula E cars there. Yeah. It's going to suit it very well, and the spectacle's going to be amazing.
Oh, absolutely! Yeah. I'm really excited to watch it, but not that early in the morning. The time difference is not vibing with it. But, we'll see. So we hope you enjoyed this new kind of format and obviously the Formula E continuation. And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.